All right, welcome back to episode 4 here of season 2 of the Reinvent the Hunt podcast. We have a kind of a fun show tonight. Nikki, my girlfriend's coming on to talk about her intro to archery and bow hunting and all the craziness that I introduced you to. So, welcome, Nikki.
Thank you.
And then we have the usual suspects on here. We've got Kenny Baltzel and also Kevin Cook from the Outdoor Pro Shop. How you guys doing?
Doing good.
Good.
Awesome.
Welcome, Nikki.
Yes, welcome.
Thank you.
So we keep getting pictures of this big deer on the house, one of the farms I hunt, and it's not far from where we're at, but he keeps appearing in the Spy Point Flex, also in the Forge Pro, getting some really high res video of this guy, and he's taunting us at this point in the season. He's coming back night after night, a little lick in the mineral block here, a little lick there, and he's scratching his back with his long G2s and getting all these nice pictures for everybody. And haven't seen him once in daylight. So we're hoping with Halloween next week. I think Nikki said, Halloween's the 31st?
Yeah.
Next Thursday. That's when I say the monsters start getting on their feet, moving around. So so you're telling me we have a chance, right, Kevin? Do we have a chance?
Oh yeah. Yeah, absolutely have a chance.
I feel like
he'll make a mistake.
I feel like this deer and I have become best friends. Like, I'm hoping Nikki gets a shot at this thing, but I told her, I'm like, if it shows up before you, I'm smacking him. Like, if he shows up at the wrong time.
Yeah, that's a good boyfriend for you right there.
I'm not gonna wait around on this thing.
No.
Yeah, I've had multiple different bucks show up on camera now. Like they're starting to cruise around.
That's awesome.
Same here. Yeah. All the big boys are at night, but
yeah.
I've got them cruising around.
Oh yeah,
it's only a matter of time. Yeah, you want to get out before, you always try to get out like those early season hunts we talked about. And it's like, why do I do that to myself? We should just wait. I know Nikki and I went out on her first hunts. Nikki, it'll be fun to talk about tonight, kind of your intro to archery and bow hunting and how you feel about this whole thing. I know you're exposed quickly to it. But our first hunts, we're going to tell us about like how you felt about it and like kind of what we did and what we saw.
Well, we went and sat in a blind. It was my first time, so we saw a doe out about 100 yards that we watched for a long time, but it never came closer. And then right when it started to get dark out, we saw what we thought was a buck, but we never got a chance at it because it got too dark too quick before you could get a shot. But it was fun just being out there and waiting and then enjoying the scenery.
Were you in a ground blind?
Yeah.
Okay, so not an elevated. Cool.
Yeah, just a ground blind.
What were you shooting?
What we have out there, the Raven.
Yeah, you had the Raven crossbow with you.
Yeah, we had the R500 that night, and it was just like a night we went out and decided to sit early. It was kind of warm, but we had an available night to go out and try it. And the blind was there. And I think, in my personal opinion, we've talked about this before, guys. I think like a blind with new hunters, regardless of who the age level it is. I think a blind is really nice, elevated or ground style, to just kind of be able to move around a little bit. You can talk and whisper sometimes. You have a little more freedom of motion than being in a stand that way. It's a little easier.
Yeah,
and it helps with scent control
as
well.
Sure. Absolutely. I mean, the first thing she saw that night, I don't know if you remember that. I posted a reel of that raccoon. That thing was a tank. He was out. He's a chunker. He's out there mowing the corn in and
for like the first hour.
Yeah.
I swear I put 50 pounds of corn out one night, and the same night 5 raccoons came in there, and it was all gone. Like it's just ridiculous, man.
Hey, thanks, Kevin.
I get so tired. The raccoons are huge.
Yeah, and they sit there and pack it too.
Dude, it's wild.
They can.
Yeah, I mean, I always tell Nikki, to me, she's like a chipmunk, because like literally, she's gonna laugh at us. Literally everywhere we go, she scurries. Like she's just here, there, everywhere. Like in her life, she's fast, right? And so this raccoon's out there. She looks up and goes, "Hey, there's something out there. It's a raccoon." And I looked up. I was kind of sitting down lower, and he's just mowing it down. And so we got a video and had fun, and just like again, time in the outdoors. Time watching the animals and getting out there and exposing her to the idea of archery. And you get like we talked about, Nikki, the distances, right? Remember, I did some range finding, and we talked about how far certain things were for the landmarks if the deer stepped out from the wood line.
Yeah, we did that before anything stepped out.
How'd you feel about it? Like, what was your overall feeling at first night going out? Were you hoping we were going to get something, or just?
Yeah, I mean, I felt the adrenaline, like whenever we thought we were going to get something there at the end, and then, but He's like, "Do you see it?" And it just disappeared so fast because the sun was just setting so fast, like right whenever it jumped out there. So
Yeah. And
Yeah,
we were
that
like,
that that adrenaline rush is something else especially when you're your first one, man. That's it never goes away.
No,
And
it
if it
doesn't.
does,
I was about to say
no,
that.
I'm gonna say you
yeah,
can quit hunting if it ever goes away.
yeah.
Right.
So
Yeah. Like
yeah,
I'm.
you
Yeah.
definitely felt it, but I thought you were gonna get one that night, but no, it didn't happen. So
Well, it was like this doe was probably 150 yards out, just messing around forever, and then it was starting to get that golden hour, half hour, and this big form stepped out, probably 80 yards in front of us. And he like, what did he do? Did he snort or did he choke or
snorted really loud. Yeah.
something? Yeah, and I couldn't tell. Like we thought we saw a rack, but it was like just getting too faint so fast, and the light. It's like I always struggle with archery, like you said, getting a little bit older. Like, man, it seems like the older I get, the closer that window is. Nikki, I don't know how you
Hmm.
felt that night, but like from legal shooting time to okay, it's end of shooting time, the light goes gone, and
yeah,
it's like
Yeah.
there's no time.
It gets difficult.
yeah.
For sure.
That low light situations, man. You really
Yeah,
got to practice it. It does get. It feels like it goes by so quick. And
Yeah,
I,
and I
I
think
do agree with you. But as you get older, it gets worse.
it does. Yeah,
I don't know about the scope that's on the Ravens, but the ones on the crossbows that I shoot, the scopes really pull in a lot of light. So I get that extra few minutes than what I would use in my compound, unless they're
exactly.
really close. But
Yeah,
I do appreciate that part of having a crossbow in my hands. So
yeah. And then sometimes you have, I know I was sharing with Nikki that night. You got a chance to look at the lighted reticle. You can go green or red with that, and it does help illuminate and give you a little, like you said, Kenny, extra time. But with the, I found on my compounds, man, like that time goes so fast because even on your dimmest setting with your LED or regardless of how you're lighting that site, it just starts to blur it out. The brightness starts to blur out the ability of the eye to see the form.
yeah, well, my age, you get a pin that close to your face, it's nothing but a starburst anyway.
Right.
Yeah.
Turn the light on.
It
So
covers up.
It's like that
So,
Covers up the
meme.
whole deer.
Like that meme of
yeah,
driving at night. Am I on the road or am I off the road? I just see circles. What's going on?
Yeah, that's the hardest part about archery hunting is that low light.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
Well, I
you
know.
pull back and you look at your pin. You pull back, look at your pin, and it like covers up the whole deer. You're like, oh shit.
It's done.
yeah,
Yeah, it's over.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just let it go. Just don't even shoot.
I know
yep.
Nikki was watching this deer and she's like, can you see it still? And I mean I could barely see it. And you're like, I don't see it anymore. You had to watch it move. And it was definitely a
Mhm.
buck. It was just like you couldn't tell how big it was.
Just like the silhouette. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So what all did you think, Nikki? Like I want to hear your personal feelings. Like like that night getting out, were you okay with maybe harvesting deer that night? How'd you feel about it overall? I didn't want to push her. I want to expose her to going out and enjoying the time. And we did enjoy just kind of watching more than anything.
Yeah, I did. And I think I would be, I mean, I feel like I'm going to be okay with harvesting my first deer just because I enjoy the harvest that you get out of it, the meat that it's provided for the family. So, I mean, I would never just kill to kill, but for the harvest for the meat, I think, I definitely think I could do it or will do it. So, whenever the chance arises, if I don't mess it up and miss.
Yeah,
Well, if you mess it up, you'll be in good company because we've all done it.
Yeah, we've all done
exactly.
it.
Yep.
I was
We've
just
all
having
done
this. I was just
Yep.
having this conversation the other day with someone because someone from our hunt club missed. Well, he didn't miss. He like messed up the shot, went through the brisket, and I'm just like, it happens to
It
everybody,
sucks.
and if it doesn't, you just haven't been hunting long enough.
Yep.
It
That's
it
right.
does suck. It does. It absolutely. It's heartbreaking, especially because this was a giant buck that this guy.
Yeah.
But at least it should survive. So, but it's definitely man, it's heartbreaking.
Yeah. I can't tell how many times I have, of the compound pulled an arrow, not falling through my shot, and just too many times. And
Yeah,
any hunter doesn't want to injure an animal. I think that's something that we want to
right.
get out there. Like Nikki, the first thing I talked about with her was, well, yeah, I hunt, but I'm not about just killing the animal. It's about, like you said, a harvest of meat for the family, or
Yep.
using all this stuff. And I think the longer you get into it, I've shared with her enough now that she understands why I do it, and she's starting to see like there's a huge value, especially the meat. Like you've made how many meals with the water buffalo, the venison now? I use it all the time.
Yeah, so many meals with venison and water buffalo here lately, so I really
Yeah.
appreciate it. Yeah.
And she's a health nut, so like I know you're like into clean protein. Can you share with us like why you enjoy the meat use?
Yeah, I mean, I enjoy any kind of protein that's lean and can provide a lot of protein in a serving without all the grease and fat. And this, it's not injected with a bunch of hormones and, you know, it's, I just feel like it's about as good as I can get when it comes to lean
Hmm.
protein, for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. How did you feel, as far as getting into females in archery? Obviously that's been a increasing demographic in the outdoor world. How do you feel about getting the family involved, kids, females, other guys in archery, like, and trying to cross that bridge to people that might be non-hunters?
Yeah, I mean, I really enjoy it, and I enjoy that it's something that my kids want to get into too. Like Carson, he really enjoyed. We went target shooting and just getting out and off of tablets and away
Yeah.
from devices and outside. And he's really interested in learning how to hunt too. So I'm glad that Josh has been able to introduce that to him as well and get him out there. And he shot the raven and hit the
Get
target dead
drilled it.
on. First
Get
shot.
drilled
Yeah.
at bullseye, like literally no fear. He just, I mean, like just get there,
Yeah.
pow, like just drills a bullseye.
Yeah. So
That's
he's
awesome.
excited to learn too. So
Yeah.
that's fun.
That's cool. How old is he?
He's 9.
Oh, nice. Awesome.
9, yeah. So,
I know before I got on, I was showing my daughter pictures of deer we had at our ground blind. I put out for her. It's just a little like 3-pointer, and she was just like, "Oh my God!" I was like, it was there tonight. She's like, "I want to go now." I'm like, "Well, we won't make it in time, and the
Yeah.
deer's standing where we need to walk in."
Yeah, I hear you.
That's
And it's
awesome.
It is. It
and it's
is. I
hard
love seeing
too.
kids getting involved.
The
Yeah.
like the pace of life. I know I was talking with Nikki about it, and it's just an honest thing that we all struggle with, right? The pace of life in the modern world is so fast that, man, having that time dedicated to getting out, even I struggle with it. I know Nikki, you struggle with getting everything done in the evening you want to get done, and as you're a busy mom, all you guys have businesses and other things you do. So it's almost like you have to make that dedicated time anymore, or else you're not going to do it.
Hmm.
Oh, yeah.
I think like the biggest thing, like besides the harvest and everything, it's just like an escape for me. Like it's like the greatest form of therapy I could ever ask for. Going to sit in the woods. I don't have to harvest a thing. I
Yeah.
don't. I passed up so many deer this year so far, and it doesn't bother me one bit. I love just sitting there watching them. Love getting out in the woods, at peace and quiet, unplugging for a little bit. Like it's amazing. It's something you can't buy.
I ate every tag I bought last year, but
Hmm.
it's not because I didn't see deer.
Right.
I generally take at least a picture of every deer I see,
Yep.
and I bet I have. Well, I know in a 3 day period, I had sightings of over. I think it was like 62 deer, and some of them were good deer. I just didn't. None of them just. I was just enjoying the moment, right?
Right.
Yeah.
I ate every tag. I did not shoot a single deer last year, which is fine.
Yeah.
You know, I
Yeah.
hunt to hunt. I don't hunt to kill. So,
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
I'm not just gonna shoot something to shoot something. Like, of
yep.
course I want to fill my freezer, but that'll happen at the end of the year. Right now, I'm just enjoying the time and waiting for a big guy to show up.
Biding your time.
Yeah.
I know
Oh
I
yeah.
got a little worried, like, honestly, Nikki, when we first went out, because I was a little worried that we wouldn't see anything, maybe. And I think that's something that, honestly, as like an archer and bow hunter, like when I'm bringing someone that's new into the sport, I'm always afraid they'll get turned off by, well,
Hmm.
didn't see Jack, or this is boring. Like I want to be able to see something with her. And it wasn't an enormous buck that walked out. It could have been, like, we didn't really know. But I think that's something that the outdoorsman always worries about when you take someone that's new hunting. You want them to enjoy their time. Did you feel that? Like, did you want to see more, or how did you
yeah,
feel about
no, I just enjoyed being outside. It was beautiful out there. And I mean, we saw wildlife. I mean, maybe not a bunch of deer, but it was still fun just being out there and spending time and being outside in the woods. I mean,
it? Yeah,
that was, yeah.
that's the hardest
I,
thing,
t
I
Yeah,
think.
I've taken. I was gonna say I've taken adults out, and I generally, prep adults and with the same thing, which is the first time is look, we very well may not see anything,
Yeah,
or you may see everything. It's the kids I worry about. When I get
Hmm.
worried is when I'm taking the kids out.
Yep.
They need
yeah,
something to see.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Otherwise, I know my phone or the battery on my phone is going to die quickly because they're over there doing this,
Uh-huh.
playing games, just so
Yep,
I can keep them in line longer.
Right.
yep. It's biding
I
that
totally
time.
I totally understand that because like when they still had the corn standing by where I had the ground blind out for my daughter, like the deer weren't coming in to our ground blind, and she wanted to go so bad. I'm just like, there's nothing coming in right now. Let's just wait because I don't want to take her and her just get burnt out by not seeing anything and not enjoy
Right.
it.
Sure.
That I'm trying to like pick and choose. So I mean, she's still fired up, and I think the corn's cut now, so it's gonna start getting good here soon.
Yeah.
But
That's
I don't
awesome.
want to ruin it for her off the start by taking her 6 times in a row and she hasn't seen anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. What would you say, Nikki, to other females that might, have an interest in hunting but not sure about it, or first time people getting into it, like from a female's perspective, what would you tell someone about hunting? Like, how would you get them interested?
I mean, for me, I just never really had the opportunity because there was no one in my family that was really hunters. So meeting Josh has introduced me to just even tracking and going out in the woods with him and just learning all the logistics when it comes to hunting a
Bri-
deer.
Briars.
Briars.
oh God.
Briars. Yeah.
But
Resson,
I mean,
Crescent.
Mm.
yeah, I enjoy all of it though. I just enjoy getting out and going in the woods and just being a part of it. So
Yeah, I think that's the
hopefully,
coolest part going out with you. Honestly, the coolest part of being out with her in the woods is it doesn't have to be anything that happens, or it all can happen or nothing. We just have fun. Like
Mhm.
it's an adventure. My entire life seems to be an adventure out in the outdoors doing something. And she went out and checked some game cameras with me recently and trudged down through a hill and got some through some brush and cussed some briars. And I mean, didn't get one good deer in that camera, right? We had one good buck on that camera from summer
yeah,
in
from
velvet.
summer. He had a couple of them from summer. Yeah.
Yeah, but it was just fun because like you're doing it together, and so I think I'm huge. I'm not a solo kind of guy, and I'm huge on doing life together with people and also like growing into each other. So when you have someone that's around you, heck, I don't care what you're doing. If you're into some other recreation or pastime I'm not into, I want to learn, and I think that's something that we can share with those around us that aren't hunters is that we're not just outside killing animals and trudging through the woods, blasting things with loud weapons. We're actually respecting the environment and good stewards of the environment and trying to only harvest what we use. And I think that's something that I want to try to convey to people because I think it's hard, even in the area we live. And I won't get too specific exactly where we live, but in the area we live, like sometimes you'll have people that don't understand hunting, and I think it's growing that more and more people don't understand hunting and archery. We had just recently, and it was a bolt, I think, and through someone's siding. Somebody at a house that's in the proximity. Wasn't me. I swear to God, it wasn't me. But I was like, the first thing I thought of when I saw it, I was like, oh man, people are thinking it was not a raven bolt, so I can prove it with that. But it was a house in the proximity of where I live, and there's a person saying, hey, there's like you showed a picture of a window and a bolt through the siding, and I was like, ooh, that's not good.
Mm.
It's dangerous. Number
It's a
one,
bad look.
yeah, it's not great. But so if you're out there, practice shooting in a safe direction, know what's in your backstop and that sort of thing. Do people make mistakes? Yeah, we all do, but try to portray what we're doing in the light where more people get into it. I think something that I talked with Nikki about is like, at first it's like, well, we're going to kill the animal, and I didn't want to portray it as we're just out there slinging arrows everywhere because it's really not. So I think did that change anything, like your perspective with that? Did anything change about how you felt?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't really know many hunters before that just hunted to kill either. Like everyone that I know that does it for, the harvest. So I've never had an ill feeling towards hunters. I just never had the opportunity to be a part of it. So
Yeah. I think that's something that
I do
like I
know.
really want to portray to people. Like I think in the and like and I'm not going to step in this dog pile right now, but I think in the current political climate, right, we all know where we live. I want to make sure that people understand that regardless of what side you're on, okay, middle, right, left, where you're at, we can all understand what hunting does for the human species, if you will. Like I don't know how to get it out. You know what I'm saying, guys? I think
Right.
regardless of what political side you're on, or if you're in the middle, don't really care. Hunting does provide. And I think it's something
Hmm.
where, like a broadhead or an arrow or something from your outdoor shop, Kevin, or, a game cam or something you're using as a tool, we can help kind of, I just want to try to bridge these gaps that we have because I think both sides get so far apart, we can't hear each other anymore.
No, I totally get that. Like a lot of people think we're just like heartless, just out killing and this, that, and the other. We're not. Like
Yeah.
we're so thankful and blessed for the harvest that we get to take. I mean, the first thing I do when I harvest and find a deer is like I just take one knee and just thank the Lord for it. Like
Yeah.
I'm
Absolutely.
blessed to be able to do this,
Yeah.
be able to provide for my family, and it's not that we enjoy taking the life of an animal, but that fills our freezer and feeds our family for a year. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
it goes well beyond the harvest part. So we're just thankful to be able to do all of it. And people that say we don't need hunting is just, well, where do you get your food from? Where do you think you're like
exactly,
this is
exactly.
actually more humane than what's going on behind
Yeah,
the scenes. I'll
yeah,
tell you that.
Another thing I
And
would add,
healthier.
yeah,
Yeah.
agreed. Another thing I'd add to that is the whole stewardship and conservationship that goes with hunting.
yeah.
I mean, you and I both talked about going out and just letting animals pass, but if we see something laying on the ground that doesn't belong going in or coming out, we're picking it up, right?
Right. Yep.
That's part of it. And I hunt a lot of private property that's not mine, and every one of the property owners knows that if I see a broken fence, I'm fixing it before I leave, right? If I see trash, I'm picking it up, but I'm also down there helping when we do controlled burns, which is good for the property.
Hmm.
We're putting out food plots that are good for the animals year round, because those crops are there through the time of year that they really don't need it.
Hmm.
When they need it is what I'm supplying them, right?
Right. Yeah.
And people don't get that. They think it is just what you said. We're out just
Gunslinging.
mutilating animals, and that's not what
Right,
it is.
right.
There's true
Yeah,
conservationship and stewardship that goes with this, and if to be a hunter, you have to be all of that.
Hmm.
What I believe is a true hunter, you have to be all of that.
for sure. And I know
Right.
I convey this in Nikki, and I can't convey it enough. This is something that grows in me the older I get. If it, there should be a sense of remorse after you take an animal's life because you know that provides your family. And honestly, I'll be transparent here because that's just kind of who I am. I think the older I get, the more remorse that more grows because I have so much respect for the hunt, for the animal, and for what it provides to the family. Like you're not out there, like I said, as a killer. You're out there providing, but that first feeling, I think, after taking the life, is, hey, I want to do this as best possible. And then there's this other avenue of, man, I have made shots I'm not proud of. I have injured animals I am not proud of. They haunt me. I do not like that. And I think any hunter, can tell you that it hurts. It affects them today. I remember. I remember several, and it's not just bucks. Okay, this is those two, where like
Absolutely.
Nikki, you take a shot, you met things happen. Like stuff, everything happens. There's 1,000 variables you're trying to control in a hunt, and you can't control them all. But like you're going to injure a deer. Like it's going to happen, and you do the best you can not to. But anybody that's out there pounding the pavement, bashing other people, they're probably the person that's injured the most deer. You know what I mean? Like
Hmm.
you gotta be realized. Like we're all going to do it, and just try not to. And
Right. And
you feel that.
yeah, and we put in the greatest effort to find these animals too. I mean,
Yeah,
Yeah.
between tracking, dogs, drones, whatever, we put in the maximum effort to make sure we find the deer if it is expired. Now, if it's still living, there's obviously nothing we can do about it. But
mm-hmm.
we also we don't just say, "Oh, it's wounded, we got to and just leave." We put in a lot of effort, a lot of hours, a lot of money to find deer, so they don't
Right.
sit there and waste.
Yep. Agreed.
Yeah. How do you think, Nikki, after you take a first harvest or get one? Obviously there's the field dressing aspect of it. I know my dad growing up, yearling, it was a younger deer I shot first time with a shotgun during shotgun season here in Ohio. And I actually remember the day, and I remember it like it was yesterday. The recoil knocked me on my rear end, and I got up and I was able to get the deer. And my dad said the first thing was, well, you're going to field dress it. And so I had to go over and learn how to field dress a deer and deal with that the proper way. And it was no gloves, no. I mean, today I'm getting soft too. I use those latex. Oh, so I
See,
know. Sometimes I don't.
I
It
mean,
depends on the day. Sometimes I
I
don't. But
still get them
sometimes,
dirty.
yeah, me too.
yeah. So
Me
sometimes
too.
I'll have a
I
pack
do
of
take my
latex.
watch off, but that's about it.
Right.
Take your watch off.
Yeah.
I've done both. I'll tell you, if I have a chance to have a pair of my pack, I usually use those latex elbow gloves at this point and take them off. But field dressing, like that's part of the process. I mean, where are you at with that?
I don't know.
Then she'll cross that bridge when you get there.
Yeah. Well, just like my mom, ever since she's found out that I plan to harvest a deer, she's given me a hard time because she says I'm such an animal lover, but I've just explained to her, I'm still a meat eater. Like I still eat meat. Like I'll probably cry. I'm not gonna lie, but I still will appreciate what it provides. For field dress, I don't know. I mean, I'm a nerd and I can handle some pretty gory stuff, but I mean.
But the reality is, though, if you didn't cry, that's the true remorse that comes with it,
Right.
which is what Josh was talking about. And Kevin is, if you didn't cry, it's a problem, right? You've got to feel it, and eventually those tears will turn right into tears of joy, knowing that you're not only providing, but you have performed a conservation effort. They do have to be controlled. They are wild animals. They do cause damage to crops, to property, to cars when they get overpopulated. So
that's another thing people fail to realize.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, they have to be controlled. Like you can't just. I mean, they have to be. Like they can cause so many problems when they're overpopulated.
I told Mom I've killed multiple deer already just with my car.
So I told her the other day when she was leaving, I'm like, hey, don't hit it in Ohio. It's like, hey, don't hit a deer. Be careful, right? But I added to that. Don't hit a deer.
He goes, unless it's a big one. He goes, then that.
If it's a big one, smash it. No,
yeah. Well, killing a deer with a crossbow and killing one with your car, it's complete different sets of deers for different reasons.
Yes.
Yeah, more anger.
One impact. Yeah, but I imagine when it comes to the field dressing, you might want me to take care of that first one or two. I don't know. Like we'll get to that bridge.
Yeah.
We'll see when we get there. But the one thing I always tell people is just basically breathe through your mouth. Don't breathe through your nose, for goodness sake. You breathe through your mouth, you get your hands in there, up in there, rip it out. It's like they're all the same. So like when you go to do it, you just slice her down the middle. And you
just
kind of
watch
open
the
it
stomach.
Yeah, don't hit the stomach.
Yeah, just watch that.
I've seen a lot of gross things, so I might be okay.
But she's a nurse; she's used to it.
Yeah, you'll be fine.
You'll be fine.
Yeah, you'll see corn at the backside. Of course, it's the same. It's still corn.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter.
With today's prices, you got to wash it and reuse it.
I love it.
That's funny. It's one of the things that I've told everybody I've ever taken hunting, that you have to at least help the first time. And I don't care if it's whether it's a deer or turkey or even fish. You have to help the first time. Even my grandson, it's like, you don't help the first time, you're doing it by yourself the second time. If you don't do it after that, it's on you, right? I'm not taking you anymore. So they always have to help the first time. But my daughters, they each helped the first time, but after that, I did it for them. But I made them help the first time.
Well, maybe we could get the heart out.
I won't even. The heart's the best part. You got to cook that up the next morning or that night.
So she does know the tradition about the heart, right? If she shoots her first deer.
I think you should probably tell her. I don't know if she's actually aware of it.
I was about to say, I'm not going to explain what I did when I first heart.
You shoot your first deer, you got to take a bite of the heart.
Yep.
Look at this.
Raw.
Yep. I've told every one of my grandkids, I was like, I'm not going.
I actually did that part.
Did you?
Oh, yeah.
Did you really? You ate it raw?
Yeah. Took a bite of it and drank some blood.
Dude, I'm dry eating.
I'm one of them now.
I do mark.
It was disgusting, but
I take the blood.
Yep, eye paint.
I give them the eye paint up with the blood, which they think is cool. The boys are like, oh yeah.
Warrior paint.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure we'll do a video once she makes the first kill. We'll do a video and we'll follow the process and kind of see how you feel about it and talk to you. But it's one of those things where I think being a nurse, you'll appreciate the anatomy because it's kind of interesting. When you go to field dress, the bottom half entrails, the stomach, the liver. And I cut the diaphragm out in like a half circle and cut just around the diaphragm. You up in the upper diaphragm where the lungs and the heart are, that cavity. And usually I just reach up in and then slice the esophagus.
Cut the windpipe.
As far as I can reach without slicing my hand off, cut the esophagus and then just rip, and just pull. Usually it's a Clovis kill. Usually the lungs are mush and they're all liquefied anyway. But it's pretty interesting to see just the organ systems of it that way. I'm sure you appreciate that.
It is, and
Yeah.
then getting the heart out of it. It's all encased in there.
Yeah,
It is
yeah, it's kind
pretty.
of hard
It
to get
is.
out.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
And then I don't know about you
So
guys, but I usually do, not to get too graphic on the podcast, but I guess it's our podcast. I usually take it, spread eagle the back legs, flip it over, and just let it drain. I'll go, wash
Absolutely.
off, wipe off, let it drain the excess blood out of the cavity, give it,
Yep.
5 minutes or so to drain out, and then put it back on its back, and it's usually pretty good to go. I mean, I'm back in my high school days, I had been known to take a deer through a car wash, which was dumb, but me and my buddy,
that's great. I
probably
love it.
wasn't a good idea, but we're up there with the deer's legs spread. I'm like, you hold it. And I'm just, I had no idea, didn't need a power washer to wash the carcass out, but we were half messing around too.
It
So
worked, didn't it?
it did. It's great. It's clean as a whistle inside. There's no corn anywhere. No reusable corn. In 2024, you got to
Yeah,
savor every piece you get.
you ain't kidding.
I love
Yeah,
it.
we usually I usually hang. We have a deer hanger with like three ropes on it, so I usually
Okay,
hang it up by the neck, gut it, and
dude.
then drop it, flip it over, hang it from its legs, his back legs, and then wash it all out, let it all drain through the nose.
Okay.
So I know we're running short on time, but I had a buddy of mine about 15 years ago, maybe a little more, grew up on a hog farm. And he said, I'm going to show you a whole new way to take care of. He goes, don't field dress them deer. He goes, just leave it whole. We're going to hang it up. And we'll hang it up by the back legs. You skin it down. And as you come through that meat, you just cut everything off that you want going down, and you let the guts fall down into the chest cavity. Pull out what you want. You're going to pull out the heart, pull it out. But let that everything else just kind of fall down in there. And then once you get that full cape off, then you start taking the meat off, coming back up, cut off your hams, and off off you
Huh.
go. It is.
Oh,
I'm
that's a
telling you,
pretty.
That's pretty interesting, actually.
yeah. And you literally get a little bit of blood on your hands. It is the easiest way to go. And I do it while they're warm because the skin comes off so much
Right.
easier.
Yeah.
I butcher my own deer all the way around, so all the grinding and everything I do. So I don't
So
take
you basically just hang it up by the back leg, skin it, and then cut the meat off as you're going down, leaving
So
the organs in.
well, so as I take the skin off, I get meat like the belly meat, since it's not cut up. Belly meat's great meat for the grinder. I mean,
Mhm.
it's just good meat for the grinder. So I get all that. I cut the diaphragm. I cut part of the diaphragm. I pull the heart out. Then I cut the rest of it. Let everything fall in
All
there.
down. Okay.
And then I take all the skin all the way down. Pop the head off, and then I start coming up. I cut the neck off. The next thing I do is go to the back straps. Then I take the front quarters off. I take the front quarters off, then do the back straps. Then I get any of the rib meat, anything I want to grind, all the way to the back hams. And then when I get to the hams, I pull it down, and after I get all that other meat off, while I've got to the hams, I take them big, heavy, like 70-gallon trash bags, and I put it up over it. I lower the deer all the way down, cut off the hams. It all falls in the trash can. Done.
Oh, that's nice. That's
It's
a quick way to
easy.
do it.
I'm telling you.
That's a really
And it's
quick way to
clean.
do it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nikki, you have any questions for us? Like on your end, like how do you
I don't
feel?
even know what questions I would ask. No, not really. No.
No? Are you more excited about a vertical bow at some point or a crossbow? Like what excites you most?
I mean, I want to learn how to shoot a vertical bow. The crossbow, I mean, I feel like is going to be easier for me just because I can use the sight and all that. But I want to learn both. So
Okay, awesome. Awesome.
Be prepared. You'll get addicted quick.
Mhm.
Yeah,
I'm
especially after the
yeah
first
yeah.
harvest.
Shit. I'm so
Yeah.
addicted. It's like a borderline problem, but it depends who you ask. It's not a problem to me.
No, it's not a
Yeah.
problem. The freezer's full. Everybody loves
Yeah,
that.
right. It's
You
not.
know?
It's not a problem to me at all.
When you're the
Depends who
man,
you ask.
yeah, when you're the man, the
Yeah.
officer, the jerky, that's not a problem, is it?
Right. Oh
everybody's,
yeah. If you bring
everybody's
out the
loving you
deer
then.
jerky, it's no
Yeah,
problems.
yeah, it's gone
Right.
real
Yeah, that
quick.
goes so quick. You can't make enough of that stuff.
I know.
Yep.
One
You gotta
thing that
hide it.
one thing I want to expose her to, which is brand new to her, and that is something she hasn't had yet. And that is we have locally made. I'm going to put a plug in here for Ravers Meats. They're locally in Amity, Ohio. Dude does a fantastic job with all his smoking and his sticks and his trail bologna. So in Central Ohio, it's our thing. I don't know why it's a thing here, but we make some awesome venison trail bologna. It's a smoked trail And it's in the rings, talking about where you get the summer sausage in the log. But this guy does an unbelievable job. You get cheese in there or not. I happen to actually like the Trebbiano without cheese because it's not quite as watery. Cheese in there, you get a little more water content.
Right,
in the
yeah.
trail. But the trail, Nikki, is like if you want something that's like for a mom or for a busy family, get out the trail frozen, in a Ziploc bag in the ring, let it fall overnight. Next morning, just slice it up or slice it in big butterfly sandwich pieces, a little bit of brown sugar, Swiss cheese on a bun, and that is an amazing meal. It's really, really good. Also quick for kids too. So I can't wait to have you try trail bologna if you haven't had that yet. But you have had the deer sticks, right? You've had the venison sticks?
The deer sticks are great. The kids love them. I love them. They're fantastic. Yeah. They don't last very long.
No. Yeah, by the time they're thawed out. Yeah, they're gone. They're all snacking on.
Yep.
Okay. And I know the ground for everybody out there, just for I think what we use the most, I think you and I both, we use the ground, not that just a water buffalo, but venison, everything. Burgers, burgers tonight.
Tacos,
chili,
burgers,
tacos,
spaghetti, everything. Yeah.
Yeah, it's so useful, especially in today's world when it's so expensive to live and people, paying ridiculous amounts of price for groceries. Like I think we're going to see more people get real into hunting real fast with how costly meat is in today's world.
Yep.
All right. Well, Nikki, thanks for being on.
Thanks for having me.
I appreciate you coming on here tonight, and I think if anything we can do to influence you to have fun in the outdoors, we're going to try to do. And I think that for anyone out there thinking about it, get your girlfriend, wife, family, kids, grandma, grandpa, get them out in the hunt, because I think today's world, as we talk about a lot, less and less people are getting out there and trying it. And as we get more of our kids out there, it will continue the sport, and I think also just help provide for families. So thanks tonight.
Yeah. Nikki, we'll have you back on after you shoot that big buck that's on Josh's camera.
As long as he doesn't shoot it before I get
it's going to happen.
It's going to be big. It's beginner's luck. You'll get it.
It's going to happen.
We'll have you back on after that.
Yeah. If he shoots it first, we're not going to let him live it down.
Oh yeah, it's going to be done. Over.
They came last Friday at 7:30, right? That's the earliest it's came.
Well, we were like.
Now he has me checking trail cameras.
Yeah. She'll look out the window. Is he out there? It's out there. Where's the deer?
Oh yeah, it's already started. It's already